Horoscope analysis, the Kendra and Kona aspects with conjunctions, Cancer rising. Jupiter in the first house, Cancer exalted, conjunct Moon offers a highly auspicious Gaja Kesari Yoga in the Lagna. Jupiter rules the 6th and 9th. Moon rules the Lagna. Rule 9 flags Jupiter as a trick lord due to 6th ownership, but it also owns a Kona 9th, providing exception. Moon as Lagna lord further ensures protection. Their conjunction in the first boosts charisma, memory, and compassion. Jupiter's exaltation amplifies wisdom and optimism. Their aspect on the 7th enhances relational fortune, client rapport, and diplomacy in marriage or public life. Sun in the 2nd house, Leo, own sign, conjunct Mercury strengthens wealth, speech, and learning. Sun rules the 2nd, Mercury rules the 3rd and 12th. Rule 9 applies to Mercury, being lord of the 12th, a trick. It would typically disturb the 2nd. However, if Mercury is in a friend's or own sign, here, it's neutral in Leo, the impact is moderated. Sun, as 2nd lord in its own sign, uplifts the house per Rule 8. This conjunction grants articulate speech, vocal confidence, and earnings through intellect or administration, though excessive expense or overanalysis may occur if Mercury dominates. Mars in the 10th house, Aries, own sign, conjunct Mercury creates dynamic logic and ambition in a Kendra. Mars rules 5th and 10th, Kona and Kendra. Mercury rules 3rd and 12th. Rule 8 applies to Mars. Its rulership over Kendra and Kona in own sign uplifts the 10th house with energy, courage, and leadership. Rule 9 applies to Mercury. It owns the 12th, but gains strength from being with Mars in a strong house. This conjunction enhances professional pursuits in engineering, analytics, writing, and strategy, with caution needed for overstimulation or mental strain. Saturn in the 7th house, Capricorn, own sign, conjunct Sun anchors relationships with karmic maturity. Saturn rules 7th and 8th, Sun rules the 2nd. Rule 9 applies to Saturn. It is 8th lord, but also 7th lord and placed in own sign, thus mitigated. Sun as 2nd lord uplifts the 7th as per Rule 8. Together, they create long-term but serious partnerships, emotionally sober yet materially secure. Their aspect on the Lagna confers dignity, endurance, and visible authority, though ego conflicts in partnerships may arise. Venus in the 5th house, Scorpio, debilitation, conjunct Jupiter integrates love, learning, and deep emotional processing. Venus rules 4th and 11th. Jupiter rules 6th and 9th. Jupiter, being 6th lord, falls under Rule 9, but gains exemption via 9th ownership. Venus does not own trick houses and rules a Kendra, so it uplifts per Rule 8. This pairing brings passionate creativity, deep emotional bonds with children, and spiritual regeneration through love or study. The aspect on the 11th supports meaningful friendships and gains, though emotional vulnerability must be managed. Moon in the 9th house, Pisces, conjunct Saturn provides disciplined faith and steady dharma. Moon rules the Lagna. Saturn rules 7th and 8th. Rule 9 applies. Saturn is a trick lord, but also 7th lord and not in a trick house, so its negative influence is balanced. Moon brings idealism. Saturn adds realism. This pairing matures late but supports careers in law, governance, or teaching. Their aspect on the 3rd develops measured communication, serious writing, and karmic connection with siblings. Mars in the 5th house, Scorpio, own sign, conjunct Sun creates focused intelligence and willpower in a Kona. Mars rules 5th and 10th. Sun rules 2nd. Rule 8 applies. None of the planets rule trick houses. This union generates creative intensity, strategic foresight, and strong fatherly or leadership traits. Their aspect on the 11th enhances competitive success in politics, finance, or group dynamics. Strong potential for fame in fields requiring courage and intellect. Mercury in the 3rd house, Virgo own sign, conjunct Venus elevates artistic communication and aesthetic intelligence. Mercury rules 3rd and 12th. Venus rules 4th and 11th. Rule 9 highlights Mercury as 12th lord, but its own sign position grants an exception. Venus does not own any trick houses and lifts the 3rd with emotional warmth and cultural grace. Their aspect on the 9th enhances poetic expression, progressive belief systems, and pleasant interpersonal outreach. Ideal for writers, speakers, or designers rooted in values and compassion. Horoscope analysis, the Kendra and Kona aspects with conjunctions, Scorpio rising. Mars in the 1st house, Scorpio, own sign, conjunct Venus fuses personal magnetism with assertive grace. Mars rules Lagna and 6th. Venus rules the 7th and 12th. Rule 9 applies to both. Mars, as 6th lord, is exempt due to Lagna ownership and own sign placement. Venus, ruling the 12th, gets partial relief due to 7th, Kendra, ownership. This pairing intensifies sensuality, charm, and attraction, especially in relationships. Their aspect on the 7th house deepens partnership dynamics, creating passionate yet karmically charged connections. Sun in the 10th house, Leo, own sign, conjunct Mercury enhances authority, intellect, and professional visibility. Sun rules the 10th, Kendra. Mercury rules the 8th and 11th. Rule 8 applies to Sun. It uplifts the 10th house with ambition and brilliance. Rule 9 flags Mercury due to 8th ownership. However, 11th rulership and Sun's strong influence stabilize it. This combination is excellent for careers in governance, finance, or public relations, especially where intellect meets structured command. Their aspect on the 4th supports status through ancestral pride or property. Jupiter in the 2nd house, Sagittarius, own sign, conjunct Moon strengthens speech, family values, and intuitive wealth management. Jupiter rules the 2nd and 5th, Artha and Kona. Moon rules the 9th. Rule 8 strongly applies. Both are uplifting the 2nd house. The result is an individual with ethical wealth accumulation, emotionally resonant speech, and spiritual nourishment through lineage. Their aspect on the 8th supports depth in healing, occult, or transformational subjects with family support. Saturn in the 4th house, Aquarius, conjunct Mars intensifies emotional self-discipline and structural control in home life. Saturn rules 3rd and 4th, Mars rules Lagna and 6th. Rule 9 applies to both. Mars is a 6th lord, but also Lagna lord in friendly placement. Saturn is a Kendra and dusthana lord. While both carry some trick influence, their conjunction in a Kendra creates a rigorous, determined mind capable of success through perseverance. Their aspect on the 10th shows a strong drive for success in disciplined, technical, or leadership-oriented careers. Venus in the 7th house, Taurus, own sign, conjunct Jupiter supports expansive and harmonious partnerships. Venus rules the 7th and 12th. Jupiter rules 2nd and 5th. Rule 9 applies to Venus due to 12th ownership, but 7th rulership in own sign nullifies harm. Jupiter, as 5th lord, enhances partnership depth and purpose. This union in the house of marriage fosters loving, prosperous, and ethically grounded relationships. Their aspect on the Lagna refines personality and adds charm, diplomacy, and generosity to one's outward image. Moon in the 9th house, Cancer, own sign, conjunct Mercury deepens emotional intellect and higher learning. Moon rules the 9th, Kona. Mercury rules 8th and 11th. Rule 8 favors Moon. Kona lord in own sign uplifts the 9th house. Rule 9 flags Mercury, but its role as 11th lord softens the negative impact. This conjunction benefits philosophical expression, writing, and learning through intuition. Their aspect on the 3rd enhances storytelling, educational travel, and communication with spiritual or maternal themes. Mars in the 5th house, Pisces, conjunct Sun drives bold creativity and romantic courage. Mars rules Lagna and 6th, Sun rules the 10th. Rule 8 supports Sun, Kendra Lord uplifting a Kona. Rule 9 applies to Mars due to 6th ownership, but Lagna lordship balances it. This dynamic duo energizes intellect, speculative ventures, and performance arts. Their aspect on the 11th supports gains through talent and risk-taking, though ego conflicts in group settings may arise. Saturn in the 3rd house, Capricorn, own sign, conjunct Mercury refines communication through logic and discipline. Saturn rules 3rd and 4th. Mercury rules 8th and 11th. Rule 9 flags Mercury and Saturn. Both own Trik or Upachaya houses, but Saturn's own sign and Mercury's 11th ownership provide partial relief. This conjunction supports careful speech, literary success, and structural ambition in business or media. Their aspect on the 9th fosters conservative beliefs, legal aptitude, and karmic responsibility in one's dharmic journey. Horoscope analysis. The Kendra and Kona aspects with conjunctions. Pisces rising. Jupiter in the 1st house, Pisces, own sign, conjunct Venus enhances personal grace, compassion, and aesthetic refinement. Jupiter rules the Lagna and 10th, Kendra. Venus rules the 3rd and 8th. Rule 8 fully supports Jupiter's uplifting influence as Lagna and Kendra lord in own sign. Rule 9 applies to Venus. It owns Trik houses, 3rd and 8th, and may disturb unless balanced. Here, Jupiter's overwhelming strength neutralizes potential harm. This conjunction fosters charm, teaching ability, and deep artistic or spiritual sensitivity. Their aspect on the 7th supports graceful, intelligent, and spiritually aligned partnerships. Sun in the 12th house, Aquarius, conjunct Saturn promotes inner authority, detachment, and karmic discipline. Sun rules the 6th, Trick. Saturn rules 11th and 12th, Upachaya and Trick. Rule 9 strongly applies. Both are Trick or Upachaya lords and offer limited uplifting effect. However, placed in 12th, their effects are directed inward, favoring research, institutional leadership, or foreign service. Their aspect on the 6th supports karmic strength to overcome obstacles, but requires inner restraint and humility for highest expression. Moon in the 5th house, Cancer, own sign. Conjunct Jupiter brings spiritual creativity, nurturing intellect, and intuitive parenting. Moon rules the 5th, Kona. Jupiter rules 1st and 10th, Kendra. Rule 8 applies robustly. Both planets are Kendra-Kona lords and in strong dignity. Their union in a Kona house supports learning, divine inspiration, and blessing through children or higher education. Their aspect on the 11th enhances social success, public popularity, and karmic rewards through benevolent action. Mercury in the 4th house, Gemini own sign, conjunct Sun fosters domestic intelligence and administrative leadership. Mercury rules the 4th and 7th, both Kendras. Sun rules the 6th, Trick. Rule 8 applies to Mercury. It uplifts strongly from Kendra positions. Rule 9 flags Sun, but Mercury's strength in own sign mitigates. This conjunction supports real estate dealings, academic prowess, and domestic reputation. Their aspect on the 10th promotes impactful leadership, especially through education, media, or communication-based fields. Venus in the 2nd house, Aries, conjunct Mars intensifies passion in speech, personal values, and wealth management. Venus rules the 3rd and 8th, both Trick. Mars rules the 2nd and 9th. Rule 9 applies. Venus may disturb unless uplifted by a strong partner. Mars here is exalted by house ownership and Kona rulership, 9th. The pairing strengthens expression and charisma, useful for artists, strategists, or those managing family wealth. Their aspect on the 8th indicates bold insights in occult or crisis sectors. Saturn in the 11th house, Capricorn own sign, conjunct Moon brings emotional maturity in goal setting and social networks. Saturn rules 11th and 12th, Upachaya and Trick. Moon rules the 5th. Rule 8 supports Moon as a Kona lord uplifting Saturn. Rule 9 flags Saturn, but its own sign protects against negative influence. This conjunction matures slowly, but results in stable friendships, intellectual persistence, and strong ethical aspirations. Their aspect on the 5th supports disciplined creativity and responsible romantic or parenting choices. Mars in the 9th house, Scorpio, conjunct Mercury fuels philosophical insight with sharp analytical capacity. Mars rules the 2nd and 9th, Artha and Kona. Mercury rules the 4th and 7th, both Kendras. Rule 8 is fully satisfied. None are Trick lords, and all own strong houses. This is a powerful Dharma-Artha mix. The combination supports writers, legal experts, and spiritual reformers. Their aspect on the 3rd gives bold voice and articulate self-expression, useful for publishing, debate, or transformational teaching. Jupiter in the 10th house, Sagittarius, own sign, conjunct Sun bestows Dharmic authority and leadership success. Jupiter rules 1st and 10th, Lagna and Kendra. Sun rules the 6th, Trick. Rule 8 strongly applies to Jupiter, granting upliftment to the career house. Rule 9 flags Sun, but Jupiter's overwhelming dignity counters disturbance. This union favors professions in law, philosophy, education, or healing with public prominence. Their aspect on the 4th energizes the home with moral guidance, though balancing ego at work is key for evolution.